Hello and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave, and once again I will not be your keeper of arcane lore for this session of Call of Cthulhu. Instead, James will be running this new scenario called A Message of Art. Before we jump into it, I want to say that we are running through Nameless Horrors, and you can get your own copy of this collection of scenarios from Chaosium.com. You can also find all of our collected VODs over on the Chaosium YouTube channel. And if you're watching there, we do stream live each Friday at sometime Pacific. I understand there was recently yet another daylight savings change. And it is too early in the morning for my mind to ponder the ramifications of that action. A quick thank you to Sirenscape and Roll20 for being tools we use to improve our games. And without further ado, Jim, I will pass it across to you.
Brilliant, absolutely. Thank you very much. It is too early in the morning, but it is 10 a.m. and will always be 10 a.m. in Melbourne when this starts, because we've, so for simplicity's sake, pinned it to our time, because there we go. Anyway, hello everyone. Thank you for being here. We're going to be playing A Message of Art today, which is a fantastic scenario set in the 1890s. Not art as in the player, who I will get to introduce themselves shortly, but art as in the concept, the stuff of life. I don't have a cool quote to go with this. Jackson, I didn't do your extra level of preparation here by sourcing a lovely French poet.
Oh, so you mean plagiarizing?
Plagiarizing. Well, isn't all arts just, I don't know, do something with it? Oh, there you go. Didn't Picasso said good artists borrow, great artists steal?
Picasso is also an asshole, so maybe we shouldn't be quoting him.
You already said artist.
Isn't all artists kind of an asshole sort of thing? Anyway, on that lovely note, let's jump in. But first, I get our players to introduce themselves. Art, would you like to start us off? This isn't going to get confusing at all.
No, not even slightly. Hi, I'm Art, and in the scenario of Messages of Art, not mine, I will be playing, God, I'm going to butcher this, Vivienne Hanot?
It's a weird one because I think it's a German word, and the English pronounce it Hainaut and the French pronounce it Hainaut. So
Hainaut, there we go.
Pick your poison.
Well, we're in France, and I'm going to be doing a bad French accent to throw back to Reign of Terror. If you haven't watched it, go see it. It's one of my faves that we've done, except that Alex isn't with us, which is, you know, that sucks. But really good fun. Bring back the bad French accent, yes. Vivienne Hainaut, who is wealthy. I will admit to not having read my bio yet. I just know she's got money and likes art. Not me. This is not going to get confusing at all.
That is completely correct. You are a loaded, old money, kind of old world super fan. You're an enthusiast.
But not old person. I'm only like, I think I might actually be the youngest of the bunch. I'm 35. I think everyone else is like late 30s, mid 40s, which was very funny to me.
No, there you go. Yeah,
so you're old money, old world, not old.
Young bones.
You're a cashed up super fan. It does just occur to me as well that throughout this Nameless Horror series, we have had several circumstances in which we've doubled up on names. And I wouldn't have expected Art to get a doubled up name, but there you go, they have.
I also have almost a doubled up name for one of my characters. Vivian was also an artist, although technically an actor. Yeah, so I'm playing Vivienne, which is, not
very true.
Spelled differently, but there you go. Yeah, two double ups.
Anyway, let's move right on across. Jackson, would you please introduce yourself?
Oh, that's me. I'm Jackson. And I also need help with my pronunciation. It's a Clovis. Clovis?
Clovis?
Clovis Hebert.
Yep. I think my French accent isn't perfect because I spent most of my life in Australia, so maybe that S is silent, but no one would call me on it. So
right.
Go and pick it.
I don't care. You're the authority in this call. Clovis Hebert, who is an artist, but not just any artist, a realist. Clovis understands that art is about truth and reflecting the world as it is, not those airy-fairy romantics who have no idea what they're doing and let their feelings spill into their art too much. Clovis knows how to get art done, and that's what he's here to do.
Fantastic. Yes, you're absolutely right. At this point Realism is not particularly popular, so you've probably not made it as high as you would have if you'd been around a little bit earlier. But hopefully you'll be able to turn your fortune around in the course of this scenario.
Not that popular with idiots.
Exactly, if you even want to be.
Speaking of which,
Speaking of idiots, Dave.
it's funny whoever you give it to now. Kind of hoping it went to Alex. Nuts. G'day, I'm Dave, and I'm playing Jane. That's pronounceable. How easy is this? I chose the best one. I'm an art collector. A dealer. I procure incredible things and then I sell it for more money. That's how I turn my trade. I'm also wealthy, although my money's a little newer and a little more focused in the scene. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Rich. Rules.
Okay, brilliant. Do you think you ever tried your hand at art yourself as a practitioner?
Yeah. I'm a capable sketcher, and I probably went to do some training for it. I think also, given my wealth and connections, I've probably done some study, but it's not enough to like fund. You know, like I don't draw my wealth from it. I think also I think I more appreciate the beauty in others' work rather than try and replicate it myself. I suspect since I've really gotten into art dealing, I probably stepped away, practice myself.
Perfect. Thank you very much then. And last but not least, we will go across to Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm playing Donati and Benoit. I'm playing Donati and Benoit.
Brilliant.
Donati and Benoit.
I'm not even going to try Donati and Benoit. Donati and Benoit, the writer, tastemaker, actually. I'm probably very familiar with Jane. Jane and I probably rub elbows quite a bit. I'm not, I don't have the cash that some of our other players do, but who needs cash when you've got taste, right? I'm an artist in my own right, although not the visual medium. I'm a writer. I'm prolific, in fact, particularly within the art world in terms of criticism, commentary, news. I do try to stay away from gossip and scandal. I leave that to the baser individuals in the industry. I will, however, take a scoop if it's on offer. And artists are, they come in all types, and I feel I'm just as respected as those working in the more visual mediums.
Good, yeah. I mean, words on the page, pictures worth 1,000 words. You can pump out 1,000 words. It's fine. It's fine.
I can pump out 1,000 words in a morning. How long does it take you to draw a picture?
Exactly.
No, I love visual art, and I've never tried my hand at it because at a very young age, having seen the marvel of sculpture and painting and even dance and dramatics, I could never do that sort of thing. I read and I write and I appreciate.
And it's been enough to get you paid and relatively famous. So worked so far. Let's jump into our adventure then. We're going to be starting off in the kind of early afternoon, around noon, in an absinthe house. Perfect time to start day drinking, in the 11th arrondissement of Paris. The collection of you are all associated with an artist collective called the Salon of the Rose and Croix, or the Salon of the Rose and Cross. Art, yes.
According to my bio, which I've just read, I funded this whole endeavor.
Yes, you've been pouring a lot of money.
Bankroll for this salon. It's kind of mine, but
absolutely. So, I'll dive into some specifics of the different, because technically, when they mean salon, they mean like an exhibit as opposed to the collective. So this is the Rose and Croix salon, as in like we're running in the same way that
multiple
gallery
names
is not necessarily a standing location. It's a series. It's a short-lived run kind of thing. But yes, we will come back to that.
I'm gonna let you finish, Jim. Go forth.
And you're all attending a party that is going to be celebrating the closing of a recent exhibit, a recent salon, which you have been running through. All of you have various objectives in your association. Some of you are trying to get fame. Some of you are just fans and want to participate. Some of you are looking for the next big story. Yeah. Exactly. Some of you are probably looking for, the business angle to make purchases or whatever it is. But all of you are going to find yourself at this party at about noon on a pretty typical day in Paris. And for context, at this time in history, Paris is at the peak of this massive wave of prosperity that is sweeping through large swaths of Europe. This is an era that would be later referred to as the Belle Epoque, or the beautiful era. So it's wonderful. There's a lot of money. We haven't really got towards the First World War yet, but the Napoleonic War, it's all in the past. It's fine. It's great. And as long as you are wealthy, and all of you are at least in some way fairly well off, because to be a painter and an artist or a journalist, whatever, you pick your poison, you needed to have money at this time. So you're kind of a little bit distant from all of the real cares in the world, which is why you can be swanning around an absinthe house at noon. So on that note, if we jump into each of your characters, where do you think they would be as they arrive in this party? You know, a small, because absinthe drinking is technically in a bit of a legal gray area at this point, but everyone's sitting around in this very well-decorated, nice little room. The streets are bustling outside. You'd be rubbing shoulders with all these other artists, reflecting on galleries, spreading gossip. Where would we find all of your investigators?
Oh, never in one room for more than a couple of minutes at this stage. I haven't quite worked out where the interesting people are just yet. I'm sure I will. I would probably be swanning through. I'm fairly impressive specimen of a fellow, but about 43 years of age, wearing a very, very fine suit, as is everybody here, of course. You know, my suit has nothing to comment on other than the fact that it fits magnificently and it is exactly as stylish as it should be. I've left my cane at the door and I'm sliding through the crowd with a drink in my hand that never really seems to need refilling. You know, I have to keep my wits about me. Everybody else is here to party. I'm here to work.
That's good to know. I was going to ask, but no, you're keeping alert, so you've got one eye on everything that's happening. I might get you to make some rolls to see if you can pick up anything, but since you jumped in first and you mentioned that you were looking for the interesting people, why don't we give you a chance to find one of them? I can give you the professions of a few people that are here, some other artists in residence, or I can get you to roll a d4. What would you rather?
Dice.
Dice, always dice.
Okay, all right. Roll me a d4. Bonk, we got a 2. All right, in which case you have spotted over to one side of the room a woman named Dominique Deneriez. Mm-hmm. She is a very, very talented composer and multi-instrumentalist. One of those people who can just pick up anything and play it. She's also... She is of that higher tier within the salon's fame because she brings in a lot of people, and she's also the source of a lot of gossip. People really want the salon to stick together because it's been very beneficial for a lot of the people associated with it. And Dominique, who has been at the heart of it for a long time, is in a deadly kind of argument that has lasted for several months now with her main creative colleague, a woman named Justine Buisson, who is a dancer. And the two of them are probably on different sides of the room. Do you think you're speaking to Dominique because you've picked a side, or are you trying to be diplomatic?
Ooh, I think I've picked up on a perception that other people. I think I've perceived that other people think I've picked a side, and I need to correct that assumption by evening the playing field. I don't want to be seen to have favored anybody before I'm, all on black,
Fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what. I
hedge my bets.
Let's just get a sense of how you're doing at it, and also a sense of how you're presenting yourself at the event. Can I get a charm roll from you?
I don't know how charming I actually am.
About to find out.
Well, more intimidating. We'll see. Not very. I think I mostly go by intimidating people. No, I'm not charming at all.
You are at least putting in the basic time to be seen speaking to everybody.
I don't have to be charming. I'm important.
Damn
That's
right.
So right.
I'm here. I'm not,
Brilliant. Who wants to jump in next if you think you'd be at a particular part of the event?
I can go while we're listing important people. So Jane will be... I'm not moving from place to place. She is very elegantly dressed with just wreaths of pearls laid around her neck. She's got I think like a small table or something with the absinthe delicately placed down in it. And I'm right in remembering that's the whole one where you get like the sugar on the spoon and everything and let it drip through it whenever. Like I think I'm
Set it
going
on fire and melt the sugar and yeah.
I've got the whole vibe going, and I've probably got someone there going through it and sort of talking in my ear. I found one of the art pieces on display, and I'm sitting there clicking pearls together and really taking it in. I'm watching it, then I'm walking back and looking at it again, and if I can find it, I've got the artist who created the piece talking quietly in my ear, just explaining some of the, the decisions, and I'm not yet passing judgment. But because I can be such a benefactor, and I think I'm in a position where I can kind of make or break some artists' careers, I expect the person who's talking is kind of like, very much selling it. Like they're hoping that this is something I invest in and then can kind of begin to make a name for myself.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I think that based on that, because I've got a list of a couple of characters that I want to throw at you, you're actually going to be sitting with a woman named Aimée Prideaux. And Aimée is a poet, actually, but she's done that thing where her friend has a piece of art that was in the gallery, and it didn't actually make it into the main event, so it's been put on display here as like a second, and she's doing everything she can to really try and sell her friend's artwork. So this is you don't quite have the artist here, but you've got the artist best mate that's kind of like wringing their hands and doing the full sell and keep stressing how wonderful this person is and how great they are and all that sort of stuff.
Amazing. I think Jane goes through all of this with, I think she can be quite, looks fairly cold or even like distant as the discussion is happening, but will occasionally interject with questions that clearly display her expertise in the area. She picks up things that might go unnoticed. She'll ask things that honestly the friend of the creator might not have answers to. Could I ask for an appraise roll just to kind of show off the skills and see how well I'm doing so far?
You absolutely can. Let's get an appraise roll.
Also, because in case I fail this, maybe I'm not half as competent as I claim to be. Yeah. Yep, there it goes.
Ooh,
and I'm asking a bunch of questions that are incorrect.
I'll give you one piece of information.
Yeah.
You are not sure. One of the things that is a confounding variable for you here is that a lot of the artwork doesn't seem to have been selected because of its quality or even because of its perceived value. It seems like a lot of the stuff that was selected is related to the occult in some way. There is a little bit of a fun theme going on, which is not at all a sinister hint of what's to come in the scenario, but there is this is the era where in real history where people like Aleister Crowley were living in Paris, writing and developing their occult ideologies. So it was very popular to have a bit of spicy occult stuff in your upper crust life at this point.
If I can, I guess then, because that was a failure, and I'm very grateful for the information, can I say that Jane has quite a distaste for the occult and thinks it's kind of a stain on art, and I think I make a couple of very derisive comments about it to this woman and possibly heard by others that might, slow my roll through this scene. I think it's kind of I think it's, why look to these dark energies,
I like that a lot. And you're also from London, right? It might be this is more of a continental kind of affliction.
That I am. I do. I'm the wife of a gentleman. I'm a pom. Hot dog. Tiny rubble. All right.
Diggity dog.
All right. Brilliant. You can obviously change that. You can have just
no. I think that's great. Yeah, no, I think that works really well. I think it comes across, and I talk about the stain of the occult spreading now across Paris. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So we've just done from artist to kind of benefactor. Let's do artist benefactor again. So I'll make a decision. I'll throw across to Jackson.
Hey, that's me. Yes. Clovis, with his immaculately waxed mustache, has been stalking the gallery. That's where we are.
Currently, you're at an absinthe house. That is where you're all kind of going to be celebrating.
That's right.
You think that that this after party will probably kick on. You'll end up heading back to somebody's house. Josephine Pedelin is the is the like guy who runs the place. You'll probably head to his. The gallery is not too far from here. It's all within a block or two. It's kind of an artist district. But yeah, right now you're in this absinthe house.
Excellent. So we made it to Paladin's house, and he's not here.
You are in the absinthe house is just a bar. House is a confusing term. You're in a bar that's what got central location that is relatively close to the owner's house, but also close to this gallery where the things are being exhibited.
Now I get it. Do I have an invite to the after party already?
Yeah, you would have secured one.
Where's Kickoff?
Thank goodness. Well, I'm keen to rub shoulders with Paladin. And so I'm stalking around, seeing if he's here, and if not, at least do the bare minimum of rubbing shoulders and hitting up the dealers and the critics. But I don't really have time for them, because as soon as I get the whiff that they're not really into realism, I'm kind of keen to drop them. Whereas Paladin, I'm saving up my Clovis is not one to prostrate himself very easily, and so he's saving up that energy to use for Paladin, who actually he thinks he can become his patron. So yeah, he's just kind of until he's seen Paladin, he's just kind of swanning around, being like,
Are you drinking or taking it easy?
Sure. Why not? Yes. Apparently one of my traits is brooding, and it's much easier to brood in the corner with a glass of booze.
Absolutely. I will get you to make a spot hidden roll while you're brooding.
I love it. Do I get a bonus roll, a bonus die from the brooding?
No, I think your fringe is flopping over your face and it's getting in the way.
It's true. All right. Oh!
How's that for brooding?
The man broods.
Strong
man broods very, very well.
All right, this bodes well.
Well, so you notice a couple of things. First of all, the villain of the scenario. No, I'm kidding.
It's me.
You spot the other characters. You have a glance around. Unfortunately, Paladin is not currently here. He is probably at his house. Like it's a moving target. This whole thing, because the gallery is in the process of shutting down. You're not sure when he is going to rock up to the party. There's a possibility that he'll still be at the gallery for a while when carriages come to pick everybody up from the absinthe house and take them.
And then maybe he'll go straight back home if he hasn't already.
Yeah. So you are not really, in a position to, you can't find him, you're brooding, you're waiting. You are going to notice, though, there is another guy who is doing the exact same thing as you. That is a man named Maximilian Lavange, and he is a horror short story writer. Little in the Edgar Allan Poe sort of space, I suppose. And he is matching your brooding energy. And with that extreme success, I will tell you that you notice that he seems to be acting on some piece of information you don't have. He is reaching into his pocket and he's consistently checking a silver pocket watch that he has.
Interesting. I mean, anyone who's brooding at the same party I'm brooding at may have some common interests. So I'd be inclined to start a conversation with him. Do I already know who he is?
You would have all rubbed shoulders with all of these people, and he'll give you an appropriately kind of like, we're at the side, you and I, the only cool people at this party who are happy to brood and watch the sheep kind of thing.
100%.
You can give me a kind of charm roll or a fast talk to try and pull some information out of the guy, maybe a psychology to read him, but unless you want to come out flat and ask him something.
Now is the time to actually look at my skills.
Well, how about I park you there for a second? You can develop.
Please do, and I will have time to wonder why my higher skill is mechanical repair.
All right, heading across then. Last but not least, Vivian.
Well, now that I've read my bio, so Vivian is a small, slight, younger woman who, for all intents and purposes, would have the kind of air and appearance of a governess. Very kind of stern looking, very plain, but her clothing is incredibly finely made. It is in slightly more muted hues, but you can tell that the fabric is very fine. She doesn't wear a lot of jewelry or accoutrement, especially in a place where art is displayed, because she's sort of there to enjoy what is, the beauty and the ideas and the emotions on display in text or visual media, more so than sort of the trinkets. This is a woman who has no need to display her wealth, because why like she is wealthy enough that the idea of money and wealth does not cross her mind 99% of the time.
Fantastic. And speaking of your wealth, as you mentioned, you have been a major funder of this particular gallery exhibition. One of the issues with kind of your old world prestige is you find it a little bit difficult to kind of openly invest in certain areas, and the art world can be perceived as a little, damaging to your reputation. But this is something that you have timed well, you have prepared it, and you've made it sort of, this is one of the big things. So you're very invested, quite literally, in it going well.
Yes. I think part of, Vivian would have arrived probably early-ish on, not one of the earliest, fashionably, this is not a time to be fashionably late. She does not need to be seen to be arriving. She can just be there. I think she spent most of her time so far similarly to Donatan, moving from room to room, but unlike Donatan, is not looking for interesting people so much as is just saying hello. Probably notices Jane in a conversation with poor sorry?
MA.
Yeah, Amy, and might move in that direction to, just in case that conversation needs to be broken up, or, just politely kind of moved along, will note Clovis brooding, as he is wont to do, is keeping an eye out for Peladin, as I believe Peladin is also the founder of the Salon of de Rosencroix.
Absolutely.
Interesting he hasn't appeared quite yet, but not unexpected. But is mostly doing the rounds and trying to get a little bit more information, get the vibe of the room, as she's very aware about Dominique and Justine's little spat. And it seems to be that various individuals might be picking sides, or at least there's rumblings in that direction, and it is, as you say, protecting of an investment and reputation. It's very important that the salon is seen to be a unified kind of ephemeral artistic endeavor, and not something where the grubber reality of people disliking each other comes through.
Absolutely, that's perfect. Well, in the interest of pulling it all together, you will be able to catch up with Jane. Amy, spotting you, is going to do her very best to go, oh wow, the very rich person is here. I was just telling Jane how wonderful and just as you deliver some terrible barbed comment about the divisive occult imagery that's been pumped into the whole thing, and Amy decided it might be better to retreat.
It's a crutch, It's just...
Exactly.
I mean, we understand that the English are a little bit more, I say, down to earth than some of us in the salon, but it's lovely to see you, Madame Hansworth. Hi.
You as well, and you've put together a fine display. It's a shame to see these baser paintings pushing through, but I'm sure there's something here of some value. It just needs to be found. The diamond in the rough, if you will.
Well, I would be more than happy to assist you in finding something that you might be interested in. Every new movement has to start from somewhere, so we allowed the more baser paintings as consider it a prologue, or the first chapter of a brand new work.
I understand, and if you're interested in kickstarting this little exhibition, I'm sure I can find you some pieces as well. If not now, then another time.
That would be Fantastic. Madame.
You said that you were important, Donatien, which means that I think that spotting two people of kind of the inner circle arriving, you soon find yourself attracted over by the sheer gravity of talent. And
yes, and I suppose if Jane is there, Jane and I have had dealings in the past, and I'm interested to get her opinion on what we've seen today as well. You know, I value her opinion, especially for the commercial perspective. She is rarely wrong, and I have theories about the direction in which art is going, and art and culture, and her opinion matters in that regard.
Well, absolutely. And I wonder. Do you think that Jane's opinions have occasionally formed the bulk of your written work? You know.
Not so much, but it's more that I will go to her with theories often, and I value her input on those theories. You know, if I've got an inkling, because I spend so much time writing and doing the deep dives in the background, I can sometimes see patterns. I feel like, and I can take those just to make sure that I'm on the right track. Sometimes I'll see if those have any kind of commercial backing. You know, if that kind of makes sense.
I think it's very much a two-way street as well. I think, especially coming into the Parisian scene, I've relied a lot on Benoit's back catalogue for getting a grounding. And then since
I've done the research, so you don't have to.
I'm now very aware that your critique of a piece doesn't only affect the value of that piece, but that artist's entire catalogue of work. So I'm constantly trying to read where you're at on hot and cold and things, just because at the end of the day, a lot of my interest is not just on the artistic ability, but also on the value of pieces produced. So if you don't like something, then I don't like it. It's like its value will fall. That is just a fact. Or maybe I can buy it then and move it around, but so on and so forth.
Yeah, we kind of
it's a
talk
dance.
around each other and meet in the middle eventually.
I don't want to say insider trading, but there's something here.
It's insider.
We love that. We love making money. Yeah, but
that's art for you.
I think Donation kind of rolls in and nods to Vivienne. Vivienne, lovely
Monsieur
party.
Benoit?
The host isn't here though, is he? Jane, I have a theory. I would love to bend your ear on it. But have you seen our host at all?
No sign of the host yet. I was just taking in this rather interesting piece. Note the detailing of what seemed to suggest tendrils peeking into the frame. I find it a little... I lack the word for it.
Symbolic?
Well, maybe. What do we know? What time of the year it is? Are we in? Is it?
Yeah. Specifically, you are heading into the wettest part of spring.
In the Northern Hemisphere, help me out here.
So that would be, oh my God, I remember the season, not the time. That would
April,
be earlier
right?
in the year, so around kind of April,
March, April, May.
Right.
March, April, May.
Okay. Good. No references about Vincent van Gogh shooting himself in the head yet, then.
Okay,
Noted.
yeah, we're still safe.
But has he cut his ear off by this point? Could be
I
fine.
think he has. Yes.
I didn't do my Van Gogh side reading. Anyway,
I'm on the
jumping
job.
across. Leaving I'll jump back to three of you in just a minute by dragging Jackson into the scene. But did you have an approach? Did you have anything you wanted to say to this guy before you crack off?
Yeah. I've already forgotten his name, but I have my notes in front of me. Levanche. See, I'm taking notes this time.
Excellent.
He's good.
Just for I'm gonna persuade. I'm gonna say, Mr. Levanche, how did you get an invite to this thing?
Well, I have. It's I'm actually me and Piladon get on quite well. I tend to get invited to most things these days. But I didn't get to catch the gallery so much yet, so I'm hoping that I can hear all about it and maybe catch a look at the works when they're brought back to his place after everything's packed up.
Looking for some inspiration, perhaps, for your latest word salad?
He kind of hesitates a bit. Peers at you.
I want us to have like a bit of a like. This is what we do.
Okay.
I think like we've got like this
Friendly
this
banter.
kindred spirit of like nobody likes our stuff. Is that what I'm getting? Like we don't like each other's stuff either, but at least we're in it together.
I love it. Let's see if that's true or whether you've just insulted him. What social skill? I think this feels like a persuade.
My highest thing is persuade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm persuading him to kind of loosen up and, you know, get back to the kind of banter that we have on occasion. Maybe he's super touchy and he's not always into it.
No,
but
yeah.
That's fine. Let's have a go.
Let's go.
Phew, is this worth spending luck on? Do I care about this guy? I kind of want to have the scene just for my amusement.
You will. I would say that this is not necessarily worth the 11 points of luck at this point.
I got 50. No,
you got 50. You've got 50. It's up to you.
I won't. It is up to me, but I won't.
He kind of frowns for a second. He barbs back, and you yourself are not sure at this point whether it's friendly or not. As he says something like, "Yeah, well, it's the realism, right? I hear you're almost gonna hit it big just as the photograph takes off. No, kind of a killer, isn't it?"
People understand that the work of man's hand is far superior to a machine. When you have worked and slaved your entire life, I wouldn't expect you to understand what art is.
Well, I always feel like the photographs do hands better. Anyway, and he turns, steps off. At which point, you are a pretty core member of the salon at all the same, and will find yourself pulled across to this group where you will all have a minute before something happens. So if there's any conversation you want to briefly have.
I love a minute.
No, cool.
Probably
in which
just,
case,
greeting.
no greetings, hello. Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, you greet, you say hello, and
I think there's a moment of when our painter friend comes over, oh god, from myself,
I think,
possibly from Dinesh, and definitely is the
I think there's a note from Vivian that like these two probably don't want to speak to the realist painter who's a little gauche at the moment, and so like does the host thing of turning and saying, Clovis, it's wonderful to see you. How are you? Tell me, what are you working on at the moment? And we'll just like turn and start talking, not far away from these two, but like very actively doing the, I have like, if you're paying attention, it was a, for these two, if they're paying attention, Vivian has clocked that they want to have a conversation and has like moved to talk to Clovis. If no one's paying attention, then no one has noticed how skillfully that was done.
It's a good instinct. At this point, a couple of hours have passed at the party. Everyone's, drinking, talking. Yeah, more and more people are arriving. You do spot Clovis heading over towards your little group. You turn, ready to kind of block the realist painter, but oh no, you're being flanked from both sides. Suddenly, a second realist painting comes straight in from the main door.
There are dozens of us.
All right, back to back Benoit. It's the only way we can hold them back.
Oh, God.
There is a slightly late arrival to the party, a man named Antonin Pinot. He's a friend of yours, Clovis. The two of you share a passion for realist art, which is rapidly falling out of fashion. He is beelining straight for you. And he is very much part of the inner circle of the salon. He is close personal friends with Peladon. All of you, Clovis, I mean, you're mates with him, but all of you would be friendly with him at the very least, and also aware that he has quite a bit of influence. This guy's pretty famous, despite being a realist. As he gets close, he doesn't look great. He's disheveled. He's very, very sweaty. And he's just a little not so well put together. Clothes look like he's been wearing them since last night. A little bit kind of tired-eyed, frantic. but still makes an effort to be personable, nods politely at the collection of you, sees you, Clovis, and says, it's the man I wanted to see. I was hoping we could have a drink together, and if you're in the middle of a conversation, I don't want to distract you from everybody here.
No, please, Anton, it would be a welcome relief.
Good. Absinthe for gestures, serves drinks. He steps away for a moment if anyone wants to make an offhanded comment. Or
I'll say to him that you look flustered. You look like you're working on something new. I know this look. This is the look of an artist in the midst of passion for a project. Do share.
He is positively beaming at you mentioning that. He ruefully starts nodding, but he will soon start to do a little bit. I shan't say. Dave, did you want to add something quickly?
I was going to lean across to Benoit and ask them a bit about what they might know about, because I don't want to speak to him yet. I want to get all my cards in play, and then I want to make myself known.
Yeah. Lean back. But
once he leaves, I'll talk to Benoit. Once he goes to speak with Clive.
Yeah. He does. He sort of nods to you. He goes. You are right. Let me get drinks. I will return. He turns. He steps away. Creates that opening.
I lean in immediately and conspiratorially, and I say to Benoit, he's created a piece some time ago. Do you know anything? Do you know if it's been sold yet? I made him an offer, but never heard a response.
I do not, but that look, I know that look well. That's the look that an artist gets on the brink, on the edge. Have you seen Vincent lately?
The man looks positively delirious. Listen,
have awful. Absolutely terrible, but the work.
Gorgeous, exceptional. He's really quite great. Have you had a chance to review his piece, The Man and Bull? Have you seen it?
No, I have not seen it. I've been bothering him about it, making comments like that for weeks on end now, and he just deflects, just like that, with a big smile and that wild-eyed look. He just deflects.
You must see it. It's the greatest piece I've seen in some time. Best in Paris, easily. And if he's working on something else, I'd be eager to see that as well. No, you must review it. Whether you published your piece now or after I've had the opportunity to procure it, well, I'd leave that to you.
I'll wait. Of course, I'll wait.
Appreciate it, as always. Let's find a chance to talk to him then.
As a man who was previously, do you know what? Is it realism? Is it something new, or is it? Has he moved away from that dreadful realistic style?
It's exceptional. From a distance, it appears as one thing. On approach, it appears another. There's subtleties woven all through it, and although it has a flair of mythology, it is largely untainted by baser occult. It has subtlety, Benoit. It has true subtlety, not the derisive, and I point again to the piece that I was looking at earlier. These are copies. These are attempts only. No, this man is a master of his craft. He takes realism to there's a quality to it, unmatched by others.
I see. Still in realism, though. That is interesting. You hear that, Clovis?
Oh, am I still here?
You are all gathered around. He's just stepped away to get drinks from everybody. So you can overhear that these two are talking up his next work. You're probably happy for your friend, but maybe also concerned that he's going to be stealing your limelight. If there's not enough room for two famous realists.
I think I shall reserve judgment until I see it for myself.
It's a masterpiece. His best work.
What? Might want to watch it back there, Clovis.
I don't put much stock into what the unwashed masses refer to as masterpieces.
Unwashed? Just over it.
I know how much you bathe in England. It's not enough.
And here to think you might have tried to court me for my favor, and yet I find such charming comments. You keep such interesting company, Vivian.
Oh, heck, you're the dealer.
I am.
Okay, my notes in my bio. She may be interested in your work, or probably not anymore.
Vivian will attempt to smooth this over somewhat by saying the salon accepts all kinds of artists, and where one maybe shall we say, exceptional with their language. Others do better work through their art. And then I will kind of lean into Jane a little bit and say, the poor man has had a bit of a rough year with interest in his art. I would not take his comments personally. He is just, how you say, grumpy.
My point is, I do not need to ingratiate you or to anyone else, for my art speaks for itself and it speaks the truth.
I can appreciate
Speaking
that.
awful quietly lately, though, isn't it?
Got his ass.
What is art without a bit of conflict anyway? I mean, if we all made things that we all loved, then what would be the point, right?
Indeed, art should be a discussion of ideas and difference. There is nothing so dull as something considered important by the populace as a whole.
It needs
Yes,
only
I
to
am
find.
subtweeting pop culture right about now.
Yep.
Before long, all of a sudden, he returns and he hands out drinks. Looking at him again, just sort of in that frantic art mode, you immediately picked it, Donatien. And he does elaborate for what it's worth just a little bit, although, the deflection is still in place. The simple story is this. I was previously going to have my piece as a companion piece to another work, something put together with Larouche, the sculptor, another Salon member.
Yes.
But unfortunately, Larouche is not finishing his work, getting married,
Yeah.
Love.
Well, you have met his wife, yes. Fair.
You've met her?
I have seen the sculptures that he has made of her likeness.
She is stunning, a beautiful woman. I can understand being distracted, but
I would quit everything else in my life.
he laughs and then says, "But this has given me the inspiration. It struck. If this is not a companion piece anymore, I can make it its own series. Why not? I can begin to work on this as it's a new purpose for my work, a new kind of realism, a realism of the fantastic." And he starts to sort of wax lyrical. Good news here. If you're suddenly going to be acquiring this, he seems perfectly passionate.
We like series. We do like series. We've been seeing more and more of those, haven't we? We've got money has just started a new one. We've got this is a.
Yeah, yes, he's good. I get it, but flowers, whatever. But anyway, he starts just kind of like babbling at this point. I'm very happy to babble, but in the interest of not dominating everything, he starts spewing all of these ideas. Any of you can interject. You can try and vibe him out. Otherwise, he will try and dominate your attention, talking about art for a fair while.
Yeah, can I hit a psychology here and see if he is posturing, if this is genuine passion, or if there's if he is actually kind of skipped the rails a little.
Yeah, sure. Make a psychology check.
I'd also like to make it. I think I'm gonna make a pitch for an appraise roll. An appraise roll, because what I'm trying to do is, if he's working on a series and I have an opportunity to step in and basically buy it now before the work is even done, because if it does well, I can then make my money back and some by already having purchased it. But if I fail, obviously perhaps I've purchased nothing but promises and tripe.
Sure. Yeah, make an appraise roll. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fantastic. I'm going to come back to
one
both
off
of
an
you.
extreme if I know that.
I'm probably just glassy-eyed in the face of his deluge and trying to pick out phrases that would work in text, and there's none.
Yeah.
Just bubble.
Too much.
I'm just blue screening.
Exactly. Here's a question. Do you write in English or French or both, do you think?
I would be writing in French.
Okay, perfect.
I speak English pretty well, but I would not be writing in English.
Perfect.
I'm a Frenchman. I buy the French for the French. I appreciate international art and I like bringing it to the French people, but
perfect. you two,
I don't want to compete.
you
with
have
us.
kind of a moment
Wild.
yourselves here. Like you're still, it's one of those things where you're in a conversation and you realize you haven't spoken in a while, and you go, I hope I'm not hovering here like some kind of henge. Any actions, thoughts, or is a biding time kind of situation?
Clovis is very interested in what Antonin is saying, because LaRouche got commissioned by Peladon. Am I right?
That's
and
true.
I want to learn how I can make that happen as well. That's my goal for tonight. So I guess that might be a psychology, like a listening, like paying attention to what the story is, because this series is talking about. That's the one that was commissioned by.
That's right. Yeah, they were both commissioned to make a piece for the current salon, the gallery that's happening, and it appears LaRouche didn't deliver his. But
so I want to swoop in if LaRouche wasn't up to the task. I want to swoop in and get that for myself.
I could see this being a psychology. If you're trying to get readings of like what was the circumstance. Alternatively,
that's it. Okay. Like psychology, like reading in what's the actual story here? What's he saying and what's he not saying?
Sure. Yep.
Never mind.
Okay. All good. And both of you have made failed psychology checks. This actually kind of works well together.
We're just gonna look at each other like.
Before we answer this, though, Vivian, anything you'd like to consider?
How obvious is Jane's interest in what this man is saying?
What is our relation? Do we?
I am one of the primary
Are you stepping on my
funders.
toes? Do you think, or?
No. Like, as in, so if your interest is marked enough that I might notice, then that would kick off the line of conversation. So
yeah, I think
it's
as long as I don't think you'd be someone who would try and swoop in and steal, like get in there before, because what's happening here is I'm attempting to basically invest in this artist, procure all his pieces, and then I will go on to sell them for more money later on. That's my trade. So if I think you might be someone who tries to get in here early and jump the gun, then I'd be a bit more reserved. But if I trust you, and if you're someone that I sell to and work with for longer term, then in that case I'd probably be fairly apparent. This is what I am in Paris to do, this, to find artists, to invest in their work, and then trade them here and in England. I think it'd be pretty apparent.
Yeah. In that case, I would sort of move over to you and say, I see this particular brand of art has piqued your interest.
He's a man of
Madame.
quality.
Well, he is indeed. If he has been commissioned by Peladon directly, it may be a little bit harder to get access to the work without it being displayed in some way. Perchance, if you are willing to take these back to England, maybe display them in some form of exhibition, for the purposes of selling, of course, and mention that the artist is from the salon, I'm sure that Peladon would be persuaded to release these to you prior to anyone else having any kind of interest in them, if you understand my meaning.
The stamp of the salon carries weight, even in England. I'd confidently display it next to the title and artist's name. Yes, I'm sure we can come to an agreement here.
Well then, let me have a conversation with Peladon. We can ensure that he is amenable to any of your proposals.
I would appreciate that very much. And if, for the time being, we can keep this between you, I, the reporter, and the realist. No need for this to get out too far.
Oh, do not worry about Clovis. He talks very, very, how you say, very big. But his words, they are very small to the ears. Most people love.
Clovis,
I just standing there, just being
This is
beaten.
an aside. I want to be clear, this is very an aside.
Yeah,
because-
A message of bullying Jackson.
it's right at the point where the two of you are failing your psychology rolls trying to hear
And we're
it.
both just,
as far as the reporter is concerned, as long as he is able to focus on the art that is coming from the salon and the environment in which this collaboration can occur, and not necessarily on the politics.
Sounds exceptional. I just need no other dealers snapping at my heel. I'd quite like to close this whole thing tonight, if possible. I'd speak with the artist and then with Paladin himself.
So
I
on
can
that,
absolutely do my best. We can absolutely work towards a conversation with Paladin later this evening. Be happy to facilitate.
Fantastic.
so on that note, kind of feeding into a couple of things. First of all, your appraise roll. Great news, hard success. This guy is currently swept up in artistic mania. You know, he's purely thinking about what he's going to create. He is not thinking really at all about the financial implications here. You make some kind of offhanded comment about sponsoring a series, and he mentions oh yeah for sure, and mentions some absurdly low price for you to have promised of the entire run of a year's work.
And I think he will deliver. And also, I'm also mostly interested in, is this of the same quality as the piece I've seen of his before? Is this a man who can repeat the miracle, or is he a one-off wonder?
So there is the question.
Yeah.
What you are hearing from him right now is very, very discerning and consistent taste. You had a look at the work that he created. It's very good. What he's describing doing next, when he starts putting forward these other pieces he wants to get together, yeah, that really works. Oh, that's a brilliant idea. I can see. Now you're not seeing
sell
anything.
that.
Yeah. Can he deliver? 2 failed psychology checks, one of them looking at the angle of, what's the story that's not being told here about the association with Paladin, and the other one kind of looking at what's really happening with the art process of what he was doing. He's acting odd, and it's a little bit exacerbated here. You've all seen people coming late to a meeting before because they're really excited about the work that they're doing. This is another point. He starts knocking back a couple of drinks, and at one point he goes, sorry, headache. My head, and knocks back an entire second one, then fixes one of you and just keeps word vomiting.
I'd say it's between Clovis and I, because we're both just I cannot get a read on this dude because, ooh.
Yeah, he seems almost sick. If you had to make a guess, he complains about his head a few other times, but based on that, you are not getting any kind of clear vibes from him. He's too busy just word vomiting at you, and there is a certain element of people just do that, but you can't penetrate through the haze unless any of you like to push your rolls. If you don't, you'll be trapped in this conversation for a decent while before, at last, carriages are going to come up. A couple of butlers and drivers will get out and note that the party is now moving across to Paladin's house. But please.
Okay. So we're moving across to Paladin's house now.
Assuming you don't want to do anything here. The state of play will change as we arrive at Paladin. So
I would almost be inclined, if he's word vomiting at me, to kind of exchange a look with Clovis and interrupt him and just, my dear man, you seem a little bit under the weather. Perhaps we can take you back to your studio and escort you there and make sure you're okay. I think the party might be done for you, dear boy.
Do you want to make a persuade check here?
I would like to make. Oh man, I'm not persuasive. I'm not persuasive at all. Why did I do this?
Well, I would say
break your knees.
I'll take if you want to be going for a first aid or medicine. Otherwise, a heart might be good.
No, I'll just. You know what? No. Yeah, first aid's not appropriate. It's fine. Do you know what? Actually, can I posit a fast talk, because I am lying to him. I don't really care about his well-being. I want to go see the thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Not
don't-
a bad
like-
idea at all.
Crazy sick artists. They're all a little bit whoop whoop. You know, like this is nothing new, and I don't really like the disturbed artists make the best art. I'm actually kind of keen for this. It's going to be a cool story. I am less invested in his well-being than I am in getting into his studio and seeing this artwork.
That's a great idea. I love it.
I can feel a
Make
scoop brewing.
Make a fast talk check.
Hey.
All right, fantastic. He goes it's, on the other side of town, and but
Oh, it's
But
no
Helena
hassle, my
has-
dear boy, not a hassle at all. I just want to make sure that you get home safe. In fact, we look at the other, would love to make sure that you get back to your studio safe.
you know, Paladin's house is big. He wouldn't mind if I take a side room, and I'll tell you what, I actually he has some colors I wanted to take a look at. He just mixed a new set of. Let's head over. You want to see some of the work? We were talking, Jane, samples. I'll
Yes.
start. I'll
Yes.
start working. We'll head there now. Where are the carriages? And like he starts trying to hasten along the process.
Okay.
I'm very
He-
happy to go with him to. I'd
Yep.
like him to stay at the party. I'm very.
Sure.
I'll.
So that's on a regular success, Alex. If you want to make any changes, just quickly at this stage,
give it
he's
up.
going. I won't go home, but I hear that you want me to like take a step back. I'm going to go and start working. Is
Sure.
kind of the effect there.
Sure.
If-
Okay. Great. I want to see his work. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
I'm happy with this.
If we could, I would. One more question. If I can let him take my arm as we let out to the carriages and ask him a few more pointed questions. I'm interested if he's being swept up by this occult craze. And also, seeing if maybe there might be some scenario clues here. Is he doing any weird, spooky bullshit in his work? Is he, what are the themes? Could I make it a cult
Yeah.
roll, I guess?
No roll needed.
Thank
We'll
God.
have that as we'll have this as the like sort of transition beat. But he kind of scoffs and he says, "Well, look, I always thought that Peladan's like the second part of the club, the occult part of the salon, was always just kind of crappy weirdness." And he sort of drops that very casually.
Did I
You
know
maybe
that there was
heard
an
a
occult?
rumor, but you did not know that there was a secondary occult like whole underbelly to the Salon of the Rosenquarr. That might be kind of, a lot of fancy clubs had that. But, Paladin's really into it. La Rouche was really into it. I thought it was silly. But look, as soon as I started including some of that stuff in my work, I've really found it to be very, very, inspiring. And he pulls you into one of the carriages at that point.
I think I find it distasteful, but not ominous.
Excellent.
Would I be aware at a minimum of like, I mean, obviously there's rumors, but would I be aware of the potential veracity? Whatever. The truth behind some of those rumors that maybe there is, like, not if it's like a legit cult, but like, oh yeah, there's, Crowley, his whole thing, like they talk shop, they have the whole, is it Enochian kind of vibe? They like sort of dabbling. It's something that I'd be aware of, but currently I'm not too concerned by because it just seems like sort of idle chatter.
You can
Just
make
something else to amuse them.
a hard credit rating, which you'll be fine with,
You'll be fine.
credit rating 90, or you can make an occult roll.
Well, my
That will give you different
one.
information.
Yeah, I was going to
One,
say.
so I definitely think this is far more about reputation than it
Hmm.
is about actual belief in the occult. Like, it's just, have I heard about this? What have I heard? And what kind of reputational effect might it be having?
Sure. Go for the occult roll.
Well, that is
Credit
not a
rating.
hard.
Okay.
But I can give you 10 points of luck for a hard. which
On
I
a
think-
regular success, you know that the occult stuff is fashionable. If you heard that there was a secondary like occult club as part of an artist collective, you'd go tracks. Nothing beyond that.
Okay. So
If
yeah,
you want to get a hard to success, I'm very happy to throw some more info.
Can I give a bonus dice because I've got a lot of skill in occult? It's not credit rating, but it's occult. I know I've got 40 in occult. So could I potentially
Absolutely.
have taken Vivian's arm and while I can see her kind of thinking back to this, assist with what I know about the occult in general? Maybe I've been invited to one of these things and brushed it off because it wasn't from a cool enough person or something like that. So providing a bonus dice.
Yeah, for sure. Please, that sounds good.
there we go.
Still landing on the
Um,
same.
I think at this point, I'm not concerned. It is odd that Antonin is a sort of like excitable, but like it's not beyond the. We all know Van Gogh. We are familiar with Gauguin and his work. These artists they take shines to things. I think knowing that it's there, we've established. I know that it's there. That's really all I can. And like, you and I can be having a backwards and forwards about like the inclusion of this side of artist things. I am very much like, it is just the fashionable thing in are we in Paris?
Yes.
Right.
Yep,
the
you're
fashionable thing in Paris at the moment is to have some kind of occult sprinkling. I would not concern yourself too much with the actual truth behind it. It is.
I think Vivian and I don't agree on a lot.
Diversion.
This is one thing that we do actually, we're on the same page about, that like the fashion's changed. This is what's in fashion now. There's probably 3 or 4 of such societies, to be honest.
And nothing sets off the alarm bells, in which case you board the carriages. It's getting a little towards the later afternoon, early evening now, and you'll be swept across away from the 11th arrondissement over towards Rue Pignon, which it's just around the corner. It is where where Paladin's actual home is, right? Very nice building. One of those kind of corner plots in Paris, big, tall walls. When you step inside, a multi-layered area, a little sort of sequestered garden, cobblestone street outside, a lovely mixture of old world and the approaching new. The carriages all loiter in the street and people take their time disembarking. This is a really good place to be, and people are very happy to be seen there. In fact, at this point, several other carriages start arriving all at once because people want to kind of announce their entrances. Mm-hmm. As you're all disembarking, ready to head in, and you can spot a bunch of different staff and folks taking coats and introducing people. A couple of you are going to have a chance to notice something. So I want everyone but Clovis to please make for me either a spot hidden or a psychology test.
Message of bullying Jackson.
You are like taking a look around. You're not really interested in all of this. And Antonin steps towards you and he slams one hand down on your shoulder. And he says, Clovis, I know I should be, and you turn towards him and you realize that he's got a nosebleed and it's stripped down onto his chin now. And he's going, I know I'm not in a good state, but I feel fantastic about this. I keep forgetting my accent. I apologize. I feel fantastic about this. This is the moment I need your help here. Can you help me mix? I need to get ready. I need paints. I need equipment. You have to go through the house to get some of it. He starts listing off specific utensils that he wants collected, specific mediums. He needs you to get like rennet for some kind of canvas priming, stuff like that.
I may have lost track a little bit. What's he up to? Is he also commissioned?
A side room at this place, and he's just going to start working because
just on his own, just because he's in the mood.
I think he's planning to show.
He's going to be showing off
a few of us.
Gotcha.
We're trying to convince him to go back to the studio because he looks like ass. But,
yeah.
Like you really shouldn't be partying right now. Like you look crap, and he's like, "You're right. I'm not going to party. I'm going to paint."
Yeah.
Aha. And you said spot hidden or psychology, didn't you, Jim?
Pardon me?
You said spot hidden or psychology.
Spot hidden or psychology, either is fine.
Right.
Successful spot hidden.
Okay, perfect.
Antonin, you are my dear friend, and that we are kindred spirits, but I think this is the time for relaxation and for rest. I don't think you should be working in this condition.
No, I have to. Come on, you. What's the greatest work you've ever made? What's the thing you're most proud of?
Oh, well, I mean, that would have to be my dumpster on the Seine.
I'm still on this thing.
Of
It
course.
spoke to me. I see. And you know what I'm going to do now, Clovis? I'm going to take it from you. Tear it up. It's what you're doing right now. Help me.
No,
Please.
no, Antonin, what I am doing is I am saving you. If you work in this state, you will only draw your well too shallow. You must rest. You must keep your creative energies full so that you can produce your best work at an appropriate time. Please, the atmosphere of the party, it will only poison your work.
I'm happy for you to make a persuade or a fast talk here, but depending on whether this is true or not. Are you actually concerned, or are you kind of just trying to...
No, I don't want him to breathe this into retention. When I'm trying to get Peladon on my side, I don't want him like running around painting, you know, the most famous realist painter around. I can't afford that spotlight being away from me right now. I need every advantage I can get. So yeah, I guess it's fast talk.
Okay, make a fast talk check for me then.
Outstanding. That's definitely worth 5 points of luck. I want this guy to settle down.
He is very, very, very dedicated. A success is going to get you something. It will not necessarily get him to back down.
Ooh.
I think it's worth the 5 points of
I'll
luck.
also flag, I think as soon as because we're on his heels and very excited to see his work. As soon as if he tries to get directed away, I'm going to direct him the fuck back in.
Oh,
like, I'm not trying to undercut you, but I'm just like, Jane's very
No, it's fine. That's
push.
fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. We're both like, we've turned
Although
this,
that said,
this
Jackson, I am trying to
person.
get him into a side room. I don't want him in the center of the party either.
Oh,
I want him
that's
working
fine.
quietly where I can buy his stuff. I'm happy to work it, like pull him away as well.
I want to
Alright,
see what he's
well-
doing, begin to write my piece so that as soon as it's snapped up by Jane here, I can publish like the minute it is snapped up and
I
get
gotta
the,
see,
get
we
the
gotta
exclusive. And I don't
think,
want we don't want anybody else to see what he's doing.
Fantastic.
And
Well, I don't
I'm
either.
very-
If the
I'm
5
very
points...
interested in ensuring that whatever story goes out makes no mention of his bizarre behavior and is all in the realm of like artistic, you know, in intensity. However, depending on what the result of the spot hidden, and I believe Donaten's succeeded psychology, there might be, because I assume you and I are still like going into this like we were arm in arm at that point, whether there's a conversation to be had about like, okay, that's something a bit weird. But definitely the intention is very much, I want the salon to look as good as possible. And if that means that the work is like bought immediately, taken to England for display, and like this wonderful piece is like, you know, talks about how quickly this was grabbed and how effusive in praise the buyer has been, and etc. Like that's what I want it to be focused on.
I am happy to spend the 5 points of luck to make sure that if he's got to paint right now, he's got to like do it subtly, and he won't,
Perfect.
you know, make a fuss, and he won't see it, and I don't have to help him.
And fortunately, the scenario can handle any direction you want to take here. So am I correct in understanding you want to get him out of the spotlight? That is your objective. So
That's the main thing. And if he's
sequestering him in
painting
that
away somewhere, I guess that's okay. It's not ideal, but yeah, as long as he doesn't spoil my plans for the evening, I guess that's fine.
Less eyes on his erratic behavior, the more truth the article will have if it doesn't mention it.
In which case, just to throw one little thing at you, Jackson, that blood's not going to work. You maybe reach into a pocket, pull out a handkerchief, and you just catch yourself for a second, like hiding this. And you can see his eyes wide, pupils completely dilated. He's got a vein pulsing in his forehead, and he's... But like at this point, you've missed the chance, and you can be okay.
I mean, maybe this is being influenced from our last scenario we just ran, but what's popular right now in 1890 Paris in terms of medicines? Is there like the latest craze?
Just gonna drag him.
No. I'm wondering if he's already on something.
Absinthe with wormwood would be a big one. But to take some terminology from the future, he's giving off big stimulant energy.
That's what I'm thinking. Dan, is that something that I would know
I've
about?
met this guy on
or-
a train station.
Yeah, and that kind of wasn't something that was around so much. You kind of would get more your opium den kind
downers
of
are
character
more in fashion right now.
Or,
Yeah,
in
or,
the case of Wormwood, hallucinogens.
Yes.
Well, actually, the Wormwood there was never enough in it to do that. And people did like reconstructions of the old stuff, and it was mostly just that artists were drunk.
Yeah, but
Very,
you get
very
bonkers drunk and you want an excuse to say, I've seen God, you'll say whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so I wouldn't recognize this as.
But we would believe it to be.
Exactly.
Like, at this point, we probably believe it to contain.
Very true.
But so, it does kind of remind me of the story we heard just 15 short months ago when young Monsieur Van Gogh got blacked out and cut his ear off and woke in a hospital.
Yeah, like
out of nervous breakdown energy.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that's just artist. This is like Wednesday for this guy. He's gonna get fuck-eyed and go bake the most amazing piece you've ever seen. So let's get the man another drink and some paintbrushes.
What is this? Is this the point at which we can find out what we see?
Yes, I apologize. I've torn you away for a little bit. You succeeded in your spot hidden. You failed, Dave. I actually missed Alex. What your
Psychology.
And successful.
Successful psych.
So the two different pieces of information then. Amongst all the carriages rolling in comes one very large, very ornate black carriage. Clearly somebody who is trying to make a statement about arriving.
Then League arrives.
No. No, this is a very polite carriage. It rolls in, does like a lovely little lap. The driver nods politely at people, doesn't run anybody down. And soon the carriage stops outside, the door swings open, and two people get out. The first is LaRouche, and you immediately recognize him. He looks happy, content, somebody who's really found a passion in their life as they look back towards the carriage, and you can immediately see why. Stepping out comes a very tan woman, and she is the most beautiful person that any of you have ever seen. This is somebody who would have 99 appearance. She is absolutely gorgeous, wearing wonderful clothes, beautiful jewelry. Can you make an appraise check for me, Jane, quickly?
I failed my spot hidden. I think I'm not really.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's a really good point. Yes, Vivian, I'll get you to do an appraise check.
Not quite as good, but I do have appraise.
How's that for not quite as good? What's up?
Okay. It's costume jewelry. It's fake. The most of it is quartz, but she pulls it off fantastically. And as she steps down, she's wearing long gloves.
Out of interest, this black carriage, is it like pure black, or has it got like gilding on it? And if I'm looking at it, is that also just like paint? Or is the carriage actually as beautiful?
You got an extreme success. Here's the full situation. This is not. We are trying to be gaudy, like we're trying to impress people with our wealth. This is people who actually do not have a ton of money, but have spent it very, very, very well to get very, very, very nice things that they can make look a whole lot better with some careful presentation. So it's, I guess, very tasteful.
Yeah, it's the
respect.
You are moving in a society where people have genuine wealth and money, and you are doing your best to fit in with what you have available to you.
And
yeah, I think Vivian's response to this is just one of like, oh, under no circumstance will any comments be made. If they are, they will be shut down immediately. We will treat these people with kindness and respect, because that is what they deserve. And the people among us who want for more than others deserve the same respect and treatment than anyone else. They are, of course, not of the same like social class, but they, no comments will be heard around Vivian in regards to this, and she will shut down any comments that are made and make it very clear that that is unwelcome in the salon.
Very good. That is perfect. And these people step down, and a crowd sort of immediately forms around them a bit as people start to head into the party proper. Inside, It's lovely. It's thoughtfully set out. You're all personally greeted by Coffier, who is the kind of elderly French butler who has that kind of charming grumpness of why I'm gonna help this way, takes you around, serves you, but you're not able to stay in the kind of main area for more than a moment or two before you are dragged to the side by Antonin, who takes you across to the sealed sort of second section, opens up the door after talking with Coffier a little bit and heads inside. He will spin to you, Clovis, and say, I need materials. And he starts firing off that list at you once again. Are you happy to source things for him, or are you going to try and make excuses not to?
Sabotage.
No, I was hoping I could. Sabotage.
Fuck up his whole paint.
Ooh,
Bring
how
him
far,
down.
How far away is Peladon?
He's not currently here. And
Not here yet?
the butler says, so we're going to arrive at some point. I want to quickly say, you did spend the luck for that fast talk.
Yeah.
In which case, what I meant to say, he will throw out a suggestion as you kind of get him off to the side. He's like, if you're worried about me, you can paint with me. He kind of throws that out, similarly wide-eyed. You can lean in that direction if you would like. You could also lean in the sabotage. Happy to hand to you here, whichever direction you're more interested.
Whatever I do, I want to be able to stop what I'm doing as soon as I think that Peladon's arriving, because he's my main target. So yeah, it seems like just helping him set up would be more possible. And yeah, if I make things a little bit harder for him, in that I give him 6 shades of blue and no green, and find the worst quality brushes and then just scuff them up a bit, so it's either going to be awful or I need to spend some time fixing the brushes. That would amuse me. I'm happy to do that.
Can you make a painting check for me?
I was hoping you were going to say
Hot
that.
dog. Let's see.
One of my research dives for this was into the entirely crazy world of paint mixing and preparation and all the weird chemicals involved. You can as you are preparing things for him, you can very subtly, in a way that is nigh undetectable, completely mess with everything he's doing.
Fantastic. Bang on extreme success.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
And I'm going to buy all of it. Yay.
How far do you want to go here? Do you want to make him look like a fool? Do you want to poison the product? You could genuinely do something so that even if he paints a masterpiece, within the next 12 hours, it will mold because
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. You could there's a bunch of animal products in it that you can de-treat and denature so that they're kind of
I think also if I can
it doesn't dry, it just runs and melts into itself.
Set the stakes a little. I think I'm offering to buy this based on word alone. So I'm parting with a fair chunk of money to buy this. That's what I'm angling for, at least. So I'm looking to I'll buy all of this, he produces, and then I'm getting just a completely spoiled and ruined product if this goes ahead.
Dave, James, everything you're describing is Christmas come early for me. I would like to mess this guy up because you said he's in the top circle of the salon. He's a well-known artist and he's a realist despite all of that. Yeah, I am most pleased to just bring this guy down.
Hell yeah.
Okay, fantastic. In which case, you dart about and you look so professional preparing everything. Everyone steps back and he pulls you all into this room. He stretches a canvas out and he starts to rant and speak, and he just starts to go. Outside, the party is in full swing, and you all will basically be here for the next several minutes to hours, depending on how long you stay, how long he works, as this guy goes increasingly nuts.
I want to get a vibe
Okay,
and
cool.
then hit the. I think we want to go to the party still. There's other people. There's movers and shakers.
Yeah, I think I'm willing to let this gentleman be dragged off and Clovis to help, but I don't particularly want to be in outside of making sure that everyone seeing the work is happy. I'd actually rather I would almost rather keep the reporter out of the room.
I'm staying.
Okay.
I'm fascinated in his process, and I'm I'm going to be asking him questions while he's doing this. I'm visualizing the story right now. This is an interview while the famous work is being created. Fuck no, I'm staying.
I'm giving him the poison chalice art supplies and then getting back to the party so that I'm ready for Peladon.
All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
In which case... Oh, Vivian, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just gonna say, as long as the framing is very much like these artists can be very temperamental when they work, you know, the question them not on the sort of like intensity of their process. It is all part, like, I just want to, again, the framing of the thing is like, please don't say this is a crazy man painting ridiculous things. It is meant to be artistic visionary, but if that is the vibe that I'm getting in terms of like the way you're looking at it, then I will happily
you know Donathian's work. Everybody knows and enjoys Donathian's work as it can make or break artists for sure, but it's never like untrue. He's just good. He is self-serving in that he only writes good stories. So if it's a story that is not going to further the art world, the only time that he ever kind of writes the break stories are when it's deserved, like when people have actually done the like he doesn't make stuff up because he knows that comes back to get you. Like he is just good, not a good person, good at his job.
On that note, Pinotin begins to paint and immediately rolls a fail.
Can he? Shouldn't he have a penalty die?
Your effect is going to be independent of his roll. Do not worry. You're.
It's just that he rolled a 0, and if he has a penalty die, there's a chance we can get him a fumble.
You know what? I'll give him the penalty.
Yes. No.
It's still a fail. Actually, not still a fail. Anyway, he throws himself into this work, and he starts to boldly begin just throwing paint onto this canvas with very little regard, very little practice, very little sort of technical preparation stuff. You have subtly done this poison chalice thing so that it is not immediately apparent that something is wrong. It just appears that he is almost acting in a strange way. You are staying, Donatin. You, at the start, are probably like, oh, wow, this is going to be a story of a real, like, artist so tortured as they, like, produce their work. And then, no, he starts acting more and more erratic, and the painting isn't coming together. And there's probably a point about 20 minutes in where suddenly he collapses to the ground. He starts holding his head going, with like a long string of drool falling out of his mouth. And then he gets up and starts rubbing his hands in like the painting and walks back over to canvas and starts like working at it, just sort of scratching at it. And you go,
this isn't
am I watching
going
someone
anywhere.
having a nervous breakdown?
This is not going anywhere at all, is it?
You probably all have a little bit of like, get out. Maybe this will resolve itself. You are probably feeling a little bit financially uh-oh'd.
Well, I'm now thinking I'm not going to give this. I think I'm thinking I'm not going to give this man any money. I'm not buying this.
Exactly. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, yeah. More that like, whatever opportunity you saw seems to have evaporated.
It's vanishing. I think I'm also thinking perhaps his one piece was a fluke.
Yes. Yeah. Which is entirely possible. He's continuing to work, though. The three of you drift out and have a little bit of time at the party. You will hear soon enough that Peladin is about an hour or so away. He's just finishing up at the gallery, packing down things. In fact, if anyone asks about him, the gallery is close enough to his home that people start to say, you could just head over to the gallery down the street, speak to him in person if you want. I think he's just finishing up the last parts. But the party is still in full swing. It's definitely hit nighttime by now. There's like a light evening rain outside, and it's getting a little bit raucous. You can see all of the various artists that you met at the Absinthe house. Dominique and Justine, the two people who are rivals, are both sitting next to the piano and like trying to dominate the same conversation. You can see
good for them.
Exactly. You can see Ame wandering around. There's a great book like library downstairs on the bottom floor. occasionally, Lavange sort of pops up. He's spending most of his time by the craft services sort of area, keeps talking to some of the serving staff. Still checking his watch.
Oh yeah.
I'm
weird.
assuming you're staying in the room, Donatan, as you've mentioned. What are the other three of you doing?
I think I'm gonna cut my losses. I'm gonna try and find other people, other artists, talk about the exhibition. I'm looking for work, getting a sense for the scene. I'm also passively aware that he seemed off his tit on something. And is that like, I'm like, is this going to be a trend in Paris of like, you know, artists losing their damn minds and not being able to produce work? Like, is there what are people in the bathrooms doing something, you know, trialing a new drug? Is there something getting through this scene?
Do you
If
want
he's if he's non-verbal, like if he's gone to the point where he's
off
just like
his head, yeah.
like non-verbal and actually not answering my questions, like I'm like, oh well, this is pointless. Like
Yeah.
I will not stick around if I feel like he can't answer my
Okay,
questions, because that's what I'm here for. I'm like, oh okay, this is stupid.
Makes total sense.
Pointless.
Right. In which case, I'll get you to make a psychology check in a second, Jane. Does anybody nope out of this early and just go, I'm going to go back to the party? Vivian, you head out early. You're not going to stay. Basically, it's getting a little erratic. It's not, he hasn't collapsed and started drooling and then gotten back up and started painting with his hands.
I am
It was left
absolutely.
before then. Yeah.
I would probably like turn to Jane at least, and as things are getting more erratic, and say, perhaps we should leave this gentleman to his work. There are plenty of other artists that I can introduce you to if you would like to have a conversation about the different styles that we present in the salon, to like begin the process of extracting and giving, essentially just like yes-anding what you said already about going and talking. But I am very interested in where Peladon is and may actually leave the party entirely to go and find him.
Totally fine. In which case, if you don't sort of leave immediately, I'll say that you hang long enough that like you engage in conversation, which means Jane, make a psychology check because you can act with that sort of information.
Yeah, my intent would be to stay long. If I can see this beginning to degrade, I'd stay long enough to get a sense for the quality, because that's going to determine my investment. But then after, I'm happy to basically fail. That was a psychology check.
That was a psychology. Yep.
Oh, hey, that's good.
Oh, that's a guess. Okay.
Surprising even myself.
So, as Vivian is mentioning, that is when he collapses. He's got that sort of drool comes. He starts rubbing his hands over the canvas. All of you take a step back, and he staggers away again, holding onto his head. He mumbles something. I need to. And starts darting towards the side of the room, towards the door. He mentions something about the bathroom. Suddenly, you hit with this psychology test. This now properly gets into to the other end of this man is acutely unwell, to the point of and appears to be deteriorating. You're not sure what's going on. Your head switches over to this is a medical thing.
Yeah.
No one else is acting like this. There are people having a big night out there, but they're not tracking in this direction, and something else is clearly.
I think I will. But Vivian is the closest I know to a host. I will say I think the man is quite unwell. A doctor, perhaps someone rather urgently.
Let me go and sort it out. I will go and find the couthier and ask if a physician can be called to the house. Surreptitiously, if you don't mind. I will meet him personally.
I will see what I can prepare. Can you make a credit rating check for me? I feel like you have this in check, but still, it's you kind of want to get the. Oh. Yeah, he's doing it, but he's going to, the first thing he'll probably do is, very carefully make sure that all of he's putting his boss first and protecting his boss's interests before he immediately sort of sends out for a physician. Also, this isn't like a call an ambulance kind of situation. They have to send for a doctor. Someone will be here in 40 minutes.
I have first aid.
If he does take his time, I can lean on the there is someone extremely unwell, and it is not going to be good for Pelida if someone is not if this is not dealt with swiftly.
I'm absolutely happy with that. It would be a push at this stage. So you can push the credit rating check, or you can try an intimidate check if you'd like to alternatively. But he's doing it. He's just has his set grooves and ways to approach it.
How?
The penalty for a
Push
push
the hell
would
out
be,
of it. Hell yeah. Right now.
it would be that he. I think it would probably be that he is going to lock down on a couple of things. He doesn't speed up, and he will probably remove some access for you. So he'll be like, "Well, get out of that side room," and you'll have less cooperation from him.
No, I think I will impress upon him, but I'm not going to like push it. I just want to impress the urgency and the fact that there is someone quite unwell, and like at a party that does not look good. But I'm not. I accept that he's going to take his time because he is an old man.
For sure.
With vested interests.
I will probably yes, I will do more in the
Send people
realm
to another
of just
bathroom.
trying to keep people away from the side room more than like divert people.
sure.
And if anyone comes to the door, it will be more of an intimidation on them, being like, there is an artist at work, he's not to be disturbed, please go back to the party and enjoy yourself, but you are not allowed in here.
Understood. So meanwhile, you have sent for a doctor. You can see that immediately Vivian runs out to get it. He staggers out to the door. You are off to the side so he doesn't burst into a hall where everyone can see him, although there are a few eyes that could look. He heads straight across the small corridor towards a little side bathroom area that's attached next to a toilet room, and he moves into the bathroom and kind of pats the sink, goes to shut the door behind him, presumably it's lockable from the inside. If any of the three of you rush to pursue,
I mean, I've got first aid. If he seems like he's in that much of a bad way.
You haven't really examined him. You're not sure what's going on. Something is going on.
I don't really want to touch him if he's beyond the point of, if I thought it could give me an interview with him, then maybe I would, but I may actually not. I may just lean over to Jane and say, do you know if he's been in Leetspig this year?
I'm afraid I don't know where he's been at all. As far as I'm aware, he's just been staying here and practicing his work.
Because he's acting mighty odd.
Do you have a suspicion?
Oh, no, just a chemist synthesized that cactus. Mescaline? There's a synthetic version of that floating around now. If he's been in Leetspig, that would be a good explanation, but never mind.
Does seem rather unwell. I hope the physician arrives, but listen, I have a reputation to uphold, so if you'll excuse me, Vivian,
What?
Mr. Herbert, I'm going to step out onto the balcony, get some fresh air, and watch people coming in. I will remove myself for this.
Okay.
Yes, this is not interesting anymore.
Two of you are stepping away. You will both be around, socializing, and generally available at the party, which leaves Clovis. Your friend has locked himself in the bathroom.
That's fine. As long as he's still out of the way. Still no sign of Peladon, I take it.
No sign of Peladon, but he's probably he's probably just an hour or so away.
That's right. No, yeah. I'm hanging out till he hangs out. You mentioned this extremely beautiful and dark stranger who came in the carriage.
Yeah.
I suspect that could be Madame LaRouche.
Madame LaRouche. Yes, it is the new wife of LaRouche. Absolutely.
Did you say that?
They rocked up together.
Yes, that they were together.
I didn't hear you say that.
I actually don't think
figured
I
it
said
out.
it
I don't
is-
think the
it is
name.
his
I don't
wife.
think we've
figured
got
it
a
out.
name or anything.
based
I left
on
it in
my backstory. So I deserve credit for that.
Gotcha.
Well, if LaRouche is here, I'd be inclined to see what he's up to, because he's really another one of my targets, along with Antonin, because I'm
sure.
trying to displace his work with Peladon.
Brilliant. Well, in which case, the bathroom door shuts, and pretty promptly, everyone scatters. When you return, Vivian, to play defensive, the others have scarpet.
Good luck
If
to
he's in
it.
a bathroom, I'm not concerned. I don't need to play defensive. A man is in a bathroom. It would only be if someone was trying to get into that painting room. So I think I just ensure that door is closed, and I will. Is that door visible? The door into like where the painting was being done, is that visible from the party?
No one's really going to wander there.
Great. In that case, I
Dude's
will.
gonna die in the-
I am going
yeah.
to be mingling in the party assuming that Couffier will let me know when the physician arrives, I'm also keeping an eye out for Paladin and would like to make my way towards. My aim is to wait for him to arrive and then mostly like without drawing too much attention, go and speak to him and say there has been problem.
Yep.
And we need to sort it out, and you need to do so immediately. So like that, just so you know, like
That's
I
where
will
intentions are.
beeline
I know,
towards
yeah.
Paladin as soon as he arrives, trying to draw as little attention to that fact as possible.
Noted. First of all, we'll jump to Clovis. If the two of you who are also loitering at the party, you will be in generally around, and there are some things you can notice. If something happens, oh, I'm probably around there, feel free to speak up. But until
Appreciate
then, Clovis, you appear at the sort of bottom landing. The upper floor is a little more private, so fewer people are going there. Most people are staying downstairs. The argument by the piano has stopped because Madame LaRouche is now standing there, and she is just commanding the scene completely. She is talking and people are hanging on her every word. She speaks with a perfect French accent, as if she's lived here her whole life, although she does look like she might be foreign, manner of dress and everything, but everyone is completely enamored with her. Mr. LaRouche, Pierre, is heading upstairs, and he nods at you. In his hand, he is holding what looks like a fairly old and important book, the way he's like holding it reverentially. He nods and is going up there if you would like to sideline him, but you have two options that you can go for.
I mean, I'll intercept Pierre first.
Yep. You head over and he smiles as you approach. He would know you by reputation and you would have chatted a few times at the meetings.
My bio says he is a friend of mine. But
perfect.
I don't really know what that means in Clovis's, circumstance. You can take the word friend as very, very, very loosely.
Clovis, friend of mine. Are you well?
Yeah, it's so good to see you. I heard that you had some trouble with your work lately. I hope this night finds you well enough to at least relax.
Well, trouble, yes, but it was positive trouble. As you can see, I've fallen in love. I've gotten married. It was a sudden thing, but I was very happy with it, and life is good. So yes, I was not able to deliver. I have my rueful apologies to give to everybody, particularly to Antin, if you see him around. But I'm just I need to head upstairs. I have a book to return to Paladin.
Oh, Paladin is here. I did not see him come in.
No, I think he's still at the gallery. But he has a private library upstairs. This is from his collection.
Oh, do you mind if I accompany you? To be honest, am quite intrigued by Mr. Paladin's tastes and particular affections. I cannot lie to you, Pierre. I would quite like to swoop in and have a piece commissioned. You understand? It is a bit of a cutthroat business, but we do what we must.
Make a persuade check, and you can have a bonus die because, as we have established, friend of yours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and if he's like, it sounds like he's not doing badly. He's like, yeah, no, I got to stop working because I got married, and so you shouldn't have a problem with me coming in here and doing this. Excellent. There's one roll and a bonus die on the way, which I probably will need. 52.
12 points of luck. A push might be just following him and potentially. You can delete the friend of yours from your
12 points of luck. I do have it. Should I save it? Or if I push it, I'm going to push it with the bonus die.
You will push it with the bonus die.
Push it, because it's just funny if you've got one friend and you fuck up your one friendship.
That would be pretty funny. All right, I'm going to push it. I'm going to not wait for his answer and just keep on following him. And in fact, somewhat take the lead and just see if I can trick him into just keep on going. And I'm coming with him and that's fine. We don't even need to talk about it.
Absolutely. Hit me with the bonus die.
Okay. Come
That would be a
on.
fumble if it weren't for this bonus die.
Oh, he's
my
good.
God.
Success.
Gotta be kidding. That's
Fantastic.
beautiful.
Ooh.
Well done.
That's a hard. Well
Hard.
done.
You reckon that he probably guesses what you're doing? Maybe an angrier man might have called you on it, but he's in love. He's mellowed out. And I understand it's tough getting work at the minute. Come upstairs. He leads you up onto the second floor. You can see there is a bedroom. You can see there is a long corridor. There's also, at the very end, like a very nicely put together, like red door with studded bits on it. It looks kind of out of place. It's very haunted house and done in like a style to evoke that. This is probably some kind of occult theme going on here. And LaRouche heads straight towards that, explaining as he goes, Peladin collects interesting books, writers, cultists, wizards, things like that, you know, and keeps a private collection here. He reaches into his shirt, pulls out like a old key on a chain that he keeps around his neck, reaches down, undoes it, opens the door, steps inside. It's a tiny single-room museum. There's a table in the middle. You can see flashes of books. If you had a Cthulhu Mythos skill, you might try and identify some of the things in it, but no. So instead, you see...
I do have pretty good occult, though.
You can make an occult roll.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hardcore stuff.
Definitely a cult.
It seems deep. Deep cuts you don't immediately recognize much. He walks in, places the book very calmly on the table, and then walks out, takes the door, shuts it, nodding to you as he goes, and will walk straight back down. I can try and see if I can speak to Peladin. Maybe you could take, you're not a sculptor, but you could take my part for the next salon or for whatever comes. I'd be very happy to recommend you.
Oh, yes, indeed. That would Pierre, I'd be in your debt if you were to do that. Can you tell me a little bit about what exactly? I've heard Mr. Peladin has quite eccentric tastes. Would you mind indulging me in exactly what he is chasing at the moment?
Well, it's he kind of stops and he seems to think.
Something related to that book, perhaps?
He considers for a time. Then he leans forward and he pulls at your sleeve and he takes your hand in his. It's quite odd. Clasps it very tightly for a second. It is about finding your own passion. Finding what is important to you. For me, I found it downstairs. I know it sounds strange, but it's about finding the most important thing in your life. Do you think you know what that is?
Well, I thought it was getting a patron such as Monsieur Peladon. But I can't paint that.
Think harder. And he drags you along, pulls you downstairs. You're only finding a patron so that you can do something else, so that you can paint, so that you can work. I think there is more to you, you know. As he gets to the bottom of the stairs. He seems to think for a second, eyeing you, and then at last kind of shrugs. But I am leaving. He's going to walk across, and he makes his excuses quite quickly and abruptly, like to the crowd of people that his wife is speaking to, and to like much murmuring, they begin to walk away. As they go past you, considering that the two of you were just talking, she stops briefly to greet you. You get a close look at her in person. She smiles and goes to take your hand as well in much the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You can like sort of make excuses and do like
no. It would be polite to allow that to happen.
Yep. It's a little odd, but she clasps your hand in hers and smiles. apropos of nothing, then says, not only should your work be as lifelike as possible, but it should be about life. Capture the moment when life begins and display it to the world in all its glory. That's what you were saying about realism, wasn't it? As she turns to her husband, he nods quickly and says, we're going. And the two of them start to make a pretty hasty exit.
That's odd.
Is it the wife picking up his conversation?
Yeah, it might. So I might have made that unclear. She says that's what you were saying about realism, turning to her husband.
Yeah.
So it might have been, that's the realism.
Conversation.
Here's what we had. But yeah, there is definitely, that was odd. Walks over, butts into a conversation very personally. It was at best a really weird thing to do. At worst, as if she was clued into the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. He dropped the book off and then like ran away. Did I get a sight of what the book was?
Make a spot hidden check. See if you got the title.
Extreme success.
Extreme success.
I got a good look at that book. What's the deal with that book,
not
James?
Not come through for me yet, but
No,
that
it
seems
hasn't
to
come through for me yet either.
I am
well
behind.
then, it was actually a mega extreme success.
Mega
They
extreme.
updated the
higher.
rules.
Dude.
I kept rolling too well, so Chaosium to update the rules for me. And sure enough.
Wow. Nice crit, Jackson.
Thank you. Make a crit extreme success.
It is a copy of a book called The Évocation des Dieux Intérieurs, or The Evocations of the Inner God.
Sounds spooky.
Oh.
Yep.
And that's okay. I mean, that's fun. I probably would have known more about that if I got my occult
there it
roll.
is.
That's fun.
Yeah, and you may have opportunities to think more about that, but a couple of other things are going to happen briefly. First of all, Vivian, yes.
Was there any opportunity within that time for me to have gone over and said hello?
You can absolutely have spotted. It's just say specifically to LaRouche or to Madame LaRouche.
Damn.
Madame LaRouche.
Madame LaRouche. I'm probably part of that group who's just like fawning over her.
Yeah, I think it would be more like in the realm of a host to have gone over, said it is wonderful to see you, and félicitations, and made probably like I would have complimented her on her attire. It is very tastefully put together, and she looks very good in it. Kind of thing. And also just very curious about the sort of LaRouche is a sculptor, and I would have seen some of his work.
Yes.
I also have a bit of an interest in sculpting, and I'm wondering how much this man managed to capture the likeness of his wife in sculpture.
That's a great question. I'll tell you what, LaRouche himself, he went upstairs, he was pretty quick. And you were kind of a bit occupied going about. We'll say that you join in on the conversation with Madame LaRouche, and you can make a sculpture check. Donatien, you are going to be...
I'm just fawning.
Yeah, you are going to have a chance to speak there as well.
Just fawning.
Just fawn. Okay, that's fantastic. And Jane, during this time, if nothing has piqued your interest here, there's one other thing you might notice. Otherwise, do you have any other objectives at the party?
No, I'm in work mode. So being social, talking with bits and bobs, but nothing super direct. This woman seems to be the focus of a lot of people's attention. I don't know her at all. She'll probably get my attention. But I have nothing specific.
That's totally fine. In which case, I would like the two of you, you can make a sculpture check, and I would like the two of you to make either, if you would like to be present and engaged in the party, you can make a social check that's appropriate, I think a charm here, or if you would like to be sort of like keeping an eye out and getting some kind of insight, particularly looking at this woman perhaps, and trying to get some information about her, I will take a psychology, I think is the most obvious.
Okay.
I'm always working, even when I'm just fawning over a pretty lady. But I'm not working that hard today.
I'm not very social. So I might...
Okay, fantastic.
Red hot hat, but...
Failures all the way
Can I
down.
buy that with 3 points?
You can buy that with 3 points, absolutely.
I will spend
Fantastic. So, in which case, a lot of it is that you were completely transfixed by this woman, Donatien. You were sitting there, you were thinking of the story you could tell about, like literally just writing the events of this conversation would be interesting. She is that enthralling. You pay a little bit more attention. Jane, you managed to get a few details. First of all, you get a name. Her name is Bathsheba, Bathsheba. And she explains non-committally that it is foreign from the East when she is asked about it.
We get the opportunity to ask how she met her husband.
Absolutely. She says that she was modeling for him.
Okay. In the East or here?
No, in Paris. My travels take me all through the world. Beyond that, you get a few more of those moments that she had with Clovis. She will kind of drill into these conversations, and then when she gets an aside, or even when she doesn't get an aside and there's still a lot of other people listening, she will lean in. For example, she leans into Justine, the dancer, and starts, talking about like the nature of movement and sort of talking really, really detailed stuff about how you have to like capture in your movements the soul of stillness and all kinds of like twisted words, but they're very nice and they seem to resonate quite a bit with whoever she says those things to. She does not seem to be explicitly targeting like anybody beyond those who are happy to talk about their art. So if you don't make any like overtures towards her, you just kind of get swept up in this whole affair.
Does she seem to be that she's not a deep? I get the impression she's trading pieces. She just seems to be like she enjoys them.
You might call her a muse, just somebody who is kind of around and, infatuated with art and can talk about it and people find creatively stimulating. A little closer to what Vivian does, although Vivian's much more like, there's some patronage aspect there.
Yeah, I think in that case, I'd probably appreciate her presence and she'll be here and inspiring others to create work. I'd probably just like a little bit follow in her trail and talk to people she talks to and then be like, wow, you feeling creative? What are you working on?
Do you want to as a final thing? Then I'll get you to make a final appraise check as you do a cycle through. This will have a kind of long-lasting effect that we'll get to. No, okay, good, all right. At which point, things happen.
Oh boy, things.
The couple leave. And everybody kind of, there's a little bit of a slump in the energy after they head off. It's immediately picked up by the sound of, carriage coming down. A Péladin has arrived. And you intend to make a beeline. Clovis, you're at the bottom of the stairs. But before you can head over to the door, you hear a couple of things all happening at once. The first is that you hear the sound of a crash from upstairs. It's pretty unmistakable. It's the sound of a door being broken. The second thing is that you hear a loud yell and then a thud from the bathroom.
Oh boy.
Final thing is that you hear somebody at the edge of the party is kind of gazing out the window, start yelling "Sûreté, sûreté," which is police. The police are here, and everyone starts kind of standing up, and then suddenly there's running footsteps. All of this happening at once. What's everybody's immediate reaction?
Are we doing anything illegal here? Was the absinthe dodgy?
Not dodgy enough that it's going to get any of you in trouble. You are fancy rich people. None of this is going to stick. As far as you're aware, but then also, why are the sûreté here?
I'll go upstairs to the crash.
Okay. You go running upstairs towards the crash.
I'm not being subtle about it either, so if anyone wants to join, I'm heading up.
I'm seeing that she's doing it, so I'm staying down here as I consider Jane kind of an ally in all of this. It's kind of...
What up?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Like, okay, well, she's got that one, so I'm going to stay here and I want to see what the police are about.
Okay.
That's where the story is.
I'm also inclined to. I'm going to assume that the crash was related to Antonin. So I'm going to check on him, count his ears.
Okay. You head straight towards the bathroom. Vivian.
Vivian, I was wondering why this character had 50 in lore, and I think I've just worked it out. Vivian is going to straighten more and kind of just like glides over in the direction of the door to greet whomever it is, whichever constable or sergeant or detective decides to stick his nose into Peladon's house. But I'm also, if Peladon's carriage is arriving or has arrived, my aim is still to go and speak to the man. It's just going to be around the fact of things.
Okay.
Vivian is still most interested in working out what on earth is going on with the salon. She's put a lot of money into it. Peladon is the founder, so she will glide towards the door to speak to Peladon and the police, should that be.
Perfect. I have you currently hovering, ready to leap into anything. Basically, Donatan. Would that be correct?
Yeah, and I mean,
Okay.
I'm interested in kind of hearing what is going on with the police, and I'm ready to kind of, depending on what the police say they suspect, I might try and melt away and go get to the story before they do. Otherwise, I'm going to try and stick with the police and kind of, I would like to preempt what are they here for? I want to overhear it, and if I can kind of get to the story before they do.
Are you known as like an investigative journalist?
I'm known long form journalism. A lot of journalism is investigative journalism at this point in history. All the well-known good journalists do their research and write long form pieces. So after a fashion, yes, I'm not really an expose journalist, but I'm more of a kind of a cultural tastemaker. But if there is a scoop, I'll take it.
In that case, I think perhaps there's a little bit of like eye contact between Vivian as she moves towards the door in a sort of like, if they're here for something, I would very much prefer if you got there first.
Yes, it's very much one of those kind of, he's being a tastemaker, like he's more on the side of the artist than the police for sure.
Excellent. In which case, because we are running out of time, I'm going to hit us to the exact moment that I want.
Give us some big guns.
Yes. So a lot suddenly happens all at once. First of all, and Donatan, if you want to jump into any of these because you're kind of hovering, feel free. Upstairs, you go sprinting up just as you hear a crash and then a second sound. You hit the top landing, Jane, and you can see a figure, and they have obscured their identity. They are wearing sort of like, a cape is the wrong word. They are wearing dark clothing. They have a book it could be a cape. They have a book in their arms. They have clearly kicked open that sort of occult door that I described and have just kicked open another one leading to a second room. It looks like they're heading for a window.
I scream.
What are you doing?
I scream.
All
and
right.
I scream very loudly, thief.
Okay. You scream
I'm
thief.
probably not going to immediately take chase. I'm hoping someone comes and tackles them.
Okay. Do you want to try and make a spot hidden check to see if you can identify this
And then
person?
once they like leave through the window, I'll chase after to look down, and hopefully I heard they were calling the police. I'm going to yell like police. They went that way and so on. But yeah, something.
Makes total sense.
I'm feeling investy if there's a case for the luck or the push, James.
This is worth it.
Especially
I
if it
think.
would leave us on a strong beat.
I like it. Either one is good. Push penalty is going to be you get caught in a compromising position, from legally up here. You're near the break-in site.
So I'll spend the luck, and then I spend another 11 points.
In which case, you catch just enough of this person looking away. They've done a very bad job of hiding their identity. You catch the familiar brooding profile of Maximilian Levang, the horror writer. Hoping that you haven't spotted him, he goes straight for the window, right? Where you didn't move to catch him, so he is going to get out into the night. But we will see if you can catch him with the police next session.
Rock and roll.
Over to downstairs. You step forward. At this point, Coiffier, the butler, has arrived to sort of talk about the doctor, and hears the thud at the same time as you. You both look towards the bathroom. He steps forward, opens it. Eyes go wide, and he steps back, mon Dieu, and you catch a full sight inside. Expertly guessed. The man, Anotin, he's fallen down onto his knees. His hands are resting at his side, and his head has exploded. There is blood that just is painting the entire room. Bits of rain dripping down in every direction. It is gone. There is nothing there. A headless stump with just blood leaking. You can make a sanity check.
Booyah.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
Okay,
one
fantastic.
realist
That's
down,
fine.
Jackson.
You are still going to take a 1d4 sanity loss
That's
on
fine.
walking into this. Meanwhile, sorry.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
Yeah, that was all.
Yeah.
I have a prediction. I think that like this man was tormented and he just had to paint like what was in his head in his final moments, and I've just ruined that painting. But go on.
The police, in quite large number, more you don't know. This seems almost like a raid. Are arriving at the door just as the carriage that is carrying Peladin arrives, and then starts to turn around and head back. You can catch the police, or you can go for the carriage, Vivian. So you can be there to try and be like, okay, excuse me, I'm going to play lawyer here, or you can try and catch Peladin's carriage.
I'm Donatien.
I think this is the time for us to exchange a look and see if we can communicate silently and do both between us.
Yeah, I am going to. I think the look exchange was go and find out what's happening, and that is Peladin's going to be the person to speak to for sure. I am willing to not be the first person to Peladin and leave that to Donatien if I can get the police's attention and have them talk to me, because the description of my character, I believe, is authoritative and commanding. I'm going to get their attention and hold it. Donatien, would you be so kind?
So
I think we'll like the number of the police shock me, and I can exchange a look with Vivian and kind of, is this the kind of place that would have like back stairs?
Yeah, there'd be like a servant's entrance that's probably no longer much in use, but you could nip out of it.
I would love to try and collect the others as quickly as possible. As soon as it occurs to me that this is more police than just like a investigative, we're asking questions, clue style, everybody stay calm sort of thing. This is like a raid. As soon as I realize that this is like a reputation injuring issue, I would probably melt back into the crowd, like exchange a look with Vivian, melt back into the crowd, try and grab the others and get down the back stairs and just be like, we shouldn't be seen here.
So this is sacrificing catching Peladin.
To get the others out?
To try and get the others out. You were sacrificing trying to catch Peladin to try and get the others out.
I don't know that much about Peladin's involvement in any of this. So yeah.
Okay.
I would say if there's a direction
you've only got a second of a look,
and I don't want to go through. I'm not going to try and go through the police here, because if they're at the front door.
Do I have time to say a word?
Yes.
Gallery.
I'm going to kind of exchange a look with Vivian and like, get the other two out of here.
Gallery.
And then I'll melt out the back entrance towards the gallery.
All right, you
send them there.
Because the gallery is
I want mostly Jane. Let's be honest. Clovis, take it or leave it. Mostly Jane. Like, get Jane out.
Yeah, we'll finish off with 3 final rolls. I want from you. I think let's go with a dexterity. Sorry, I know it's not a chase. Make a constitution check.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll just if you bump your movement speed as you're heading towards. Okay. All right.
I'm a large bloke.
Bolting as quickly as you can. Heading across. I want a law check, unless you have a alternative proposal.
No law. I mean, law or credit rating were going to be my arguments here. Law to try and divert what's happening. If I absolutely need to, if something goes wrong, I'll lean on credit rating to get me out of whatever.
Credit rating will
situation.
protect you. Law will protect more people potentially.
I'm going to go with law for the moment, with the backup of like, if I need to get myself out of trouble, then it'll be credit rating. But I'm going to see if I can at least like go. I'm trying to halt them from getting into the house long enough that we have a bit of time.
For sure. Make a law check.
Hard success.
Hard success, well done.
Nice.
In which case, the police are being successfully stalled, are upstairs. You've got a vision of this person, but that said, they're jumping out the window. You are sprinting towards the gallery. Paladin is going away. There is a dead, headless body, and a final roll. Clovis, can you make a power check for me?
Oh, that's
hell
fun.
yeah.
Whatever exploded his head is coming from my head.
Oh!
That's a
Perfect fumble.
No,
You
yes,
start
but
to
no,
feel
but yes.
Just the faintest headache begin to blossom at the base of your skull. And we'll end the session there.
No.
Oh, what a finish.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Amazing.
no.
Yes.
Jackson, if you want to prep
yes.
some red paint for next session to start coming out your ears.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, everybody.
Outstanding.
Yeah, the lights. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to Jackson, to Art, to Alex, to David. Thank you to everybody
Thank you, Jim.
for
Thank you,
watching.
James, for keeping.
Big
And
Jim.
to Sirenscape and Roll20, tools which we use to improve our game. We will be back next week at the same time with the second session of, well, yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is the same
We will
time,
be-
actually. I think someone said it's 3 p.m. Pacific. I think Aki Stefan clarified that for us.
Oh,
So,
thank you, Lucky Stefan.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It'll be 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Go
Always
forth with
10.
your time zone converters. Well, except when we're in standard time, which is a different.
Always
time.
10 in Melbourne.
Whatever the
Damn.
time is.
The
Anyway.
world revolves around us.
yeah. Hey,
Our world
US.
revolves around
Hey,
us.
US.
Yes.
Thanks very much once more. All the best to everybody and have a great time.